It's like 1,000 stickers everywhere, and nobody peels other people's stickers off. I'm pretty fucking pissed off about that.
Yeah, there's just the one rabbit.
Yeah, it just like there's a million stickers in Deviate, and you decide to peel off the rabbit, but it's perfect because the rabbit's so sad. It's like a crying rabbit.
Well, and you've been like tossing those rabbits been going up everywhere.
Yeah, for like the past a year or two.
Right? Like I can't help it. Like, yeah, you just walk down the street and you like see them, and I think that's like a part of that aggressive approach you have, right? Like, is you just do it. Like, you get an idea, and like I think anybody can have an idea, but not too many people execute it, and they execute it with like, I don't know, like the vigor that you like attack ideas or like any of the projects you've been involved in.
That's true. I do try to take it to the very end. I think it's kind of mind-blowing to have these things that are very simple in their nature and then just expand them to like as far as you can. Because like I just painted a bunch of rabbits, but they're all kind of different. And I mean, Alex's party kind of did a thing where he had this bunny with and he had like an ongoing joke.
Okay.
But it's still not really similar anyways. It's just, I mean, I easily compare myself to other people because I don't want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I get worried about that. But I don't think it's like that at all.
No, and like I kind of struggle with that too. Like not so much the comparison thing, but like the process of creating, right? Because when you're, at least for me, like when you're down there and you're doing this stuff, like it doesn't, like you're not really thinking about the big idea, right? But then you know, start painting these rabbits or whatever, and then you have this body of work, and then I think that like then you're like almost able to realize like what you were, like what emotion or idea you were working through in that like mindless state of creation.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden you see these similarities in these things, and it's like, well, why was I doing that? And then you think about it, and you're like, oh, well, maybe this is why. So
Yeah, go for a long moonlight walk.
I was like sad or something, right? Or I was dabbling into things that, because this one basically is about like, yeah, jumping and laughing. It would be great, right? And it's like a quote from a song that I just stole and put it in the title.
What song?
It was like an M83 song. Is this little kid talking about becoming like a frog?
Okay.
How fun it would be. So I kind of reversed it, but then used I mean, I was just like listening to the song, drawing the rabbits, and then, yeah, like I heard that line, and I was like, oh, it's kind of funny because they're rabbits and they jump, and I don't know, it's just like comparing the two, and then like all the luxuries in human life that was supposed to be like incorporated into the rabbits.
Well, yeah, and
so I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but that just tied with rabbits, they're kind of spooky, and like start from these like fun, playful baby rabbits to these like creepy.
And that's what I like, because your choice of colors and like there are these goofy kind of like stuff, but they're very, like what I was saying about that like uncomfortableness is that it's like these very like sexualized Teletubbies almost, you know, like you have these rabbits with their like titties hanging out and like their little fucking like peckers, right? And like whatever idea or emotion you were working out while you were creating is like way different than like my response to it.
Well, I think like, well, I was talking to Tara about this, like objectification of women, let's say, right? Like, I kind of was like worried. I was like, I'm drawing these tits. Like, do I have grounds to draw tits on rabbits? Like, is that objectifying women? And I'm like, well, that wasn't my goal. If you paint a woman to sell your painting, right? Like, you paint like the perfect woman image, and then because you want it to sell. I think that's where it becomes bad. Where I just like paint these fucking. And they're not like perfect tits because nothing perfect. That's what I like about the rabbits too. They're not even colored in properly. They're like fucking sloppy.
Yeah, like there's kind of this like cutesy element to it, but then they're also really like grotesque too.
Maybe that's like how I feel about humans. They're kind of cute, but they're also really grotesque. Some of the shit they do.
There's a lot of gross things about human on a body level and a metaphorical level, and but like I don't know. I like your like approach because yeah, just that like seeing like a lot of kids that have gone to art school and come out and like the stuff that they're producing like it's an era like the era like in my opinion the era that we live in is like really big times where we're like reaching this like tipping point and all like I guess you can't say all but like the majority of artists aren't shaking it up. They're painting like soft stuff or like landscapes or
well, the ones that seem to make it or like get into the galleries. It's like, but I was on Instagram and I found some guy in Edmonton. That's the thing about typing in YG street art or whatever SA. Yeah, I ended up finding a lot of really cool stuff in Edmonton, like people I wouldn't think would exist here. I mean, are doing, but I mean, I don't know why I think that they're everywhere here. Maybe there's a good climate to produce them, but just not right now to give them exposure.
What do you think? Like Edmonton's like, it's like a weird place, man, because it's kind of like outside of Edmonton, it's known as this like former glory hockey team and like infamous for its like murder capital rate and shit. Like, do you think it's like a good place to like make a go at being an artist?
I think actually it's gonna be good for a lot of the kids right now. And like we put out a lot of good bands, and I think like making the artists is really good because you have this ability to be around just enough to inspire you, but not get stuck. Like I feel like maybe that's something like Vancouver might have difficulty with. Mm-hmm. Is like there's lots of artists and they're all being like put out there and they're all communicating, but then they also might get like here you have the ability to step away from that too. I think create your own thing if you wanted to, kind of be a little bit different, and maybe because the hope isn't quite there, so you're like, well, it's not gonna. I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want then because it's not gonna be going anywhere anyways. May as well make it mine instead of fucking copy all these other assholes. That's why I feel like it makes good artists, but just doesn't.
Well, well, and I think like like just for you like on the pursuit, like you're definitely developing, and I think like having this like Faux Gala thing open up in like a climate where there's not a lot of like there's a few galleries in town that are like all right, but like the majority of them aren't structured towards encouraging like new artists or like new ideas. It's all very like nice like stuff that sells, like something that you might be able to pick up in an IKEA, and
it's a little too nice. Why do you think people love Games of Thrones so much? Because people get stabbed in the throat and shit. Like it's intense. Can't get intense from a watercolor painting unless you like. Well, that's not true. There was this Tara's grandma's friend's Muggy. She's like real good at watercolors. I get intense about her watercolor stuff. But
but it's just that, right? Like it seems that we're like in a generation that maybe idolizes intensity, right? Like what the shows, like Game of Thrones or that type of stuff, or like why like like the homoerotic mixed martial arts is like so popular, but like I think they idolize it, but people don't embrace it. Like people aren't intense. Like people for the most part don't enjoy conflict. Like they tiptoe around it, and like nobody puts out their opinions or their ideas because they don't want to like shake up the boat or make anybody feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean I do that in person a lot of the times, but when it comes to the art, that's where I say I'm not gonna do it in person. I may as well do it in my art. But some people don't even do it in their art, and that's like the reason I became an artist, was to say things I can't say, or don't feel like I can't say.
Yeah.
Do, right? Like, I can make something demented, like, just painting a picture. It's not me. I'm not fucking. I can do something weird and like make something that's out of the ordinary without. I don't want to actually do anything fucking. I don't want to hurt people, right? So, and I kind of want to test the extremes though, right? Like, what the hell? How far can I take this fucking thing? And also, too, being like mindful. It's a weird balance. Like, there's that one painting of that head that was decapitated, and like, but not really. It's just like.
Oh yeah.
It's just not attached, right? And the arms aren't attached, and it's like. When I was painting, I felt like a sicko. But then Tara looked at it, she's like, I like it. I was like, what? Okay, well, I just keep doing this. I did it because it was just, the image popped in my head, so I just wanted to see if I could do it.
Well, yeah, and I think, like, for the creative pursuit, like, having, like, encouragement like that, or somebody to toss ideas, like, back and forth, or to get, like, an honest opinion. Because, like, she knows her stuff, and it doesn't seem like she's afraid to, like, let you know. But, like, I think that's... like what's really beneficial is like having like artists like you, like Capto doing his thing, or somebody like Lindsay Kirker in town, like also getting on that scale and starting to present big ideas and like really develop. And like I think for her specifically, like she started at maybe that kind of like level, painting like nice stuff, but the stuff's like she's doing now, like that fucking gross pig thing, it's like the size of like a wall. Like my hope, like through this gallery, is that we can like create an outlet to like show that like the killer work of people that just got burnt out from
light the fire again.
Yeah.
Alright, take care.